Okay, so this is the second half of the animating process with your camera. So instead of now rendering a static image, we are now going to render a small animation or a video. So once you've got your camera in the scene like before, just making sure obviously it's also here. So I just press 0, it's also there. Excellent, all in frame. So the first thing we want to do, and this is referring back to your keyframing and animating video that was there, you want to pull up the animation timeline. This is where this is what we're going to be keyframing our camera in. If you followed that video, this is not very dissimilar to what you did there. So, a task for you guys might be try and do this on your own, because it's really, really doable. But anyway, so we've got our camera selected. What we want to do, we want to keyframe it. So, as well as the Shift S shortcut, which is there, you can also just press I and then pull up all channels, and it will be there. Excellent. So that is our first keyframe. The keyframe of this is set. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to do a really simple pulling back of the camera and then a quick zoom in. So we'll just pull it out. 12 frames. We'll then move it forward, pull it back even more. 24, 36. Let's move it forward a little bit. 48. Let's get it real close in front of him. Excellent. And then for the 60 frame, we'll just go right up to the top and then I. Excellent. So we'll just play that back. Oh, there you go, and it's in his face. Okay, nothing special, but it is just a template. You really do a lot with this. Okay, so now that we have all of this, we have our nice keyframed animation. We want to make sure you have the camera selected and you're on the output tab again. So with this, we now want to adjust some video settings. So the first thing we want to change is the frame rate. Now, you can leave this as it is. Again, frame rate is really dependent on what you're doing. We're at 24 just for the sake of it. Let's just go to 30. But like I say, that really is depending on what you're choosing to animate on. That is your choice. So the frame range. So this is going to be what frames do we want Blender to render for us. So since we only got up to 60 frames, we'll go start on frame 1 and then we'll end it on frame 60. So it's only rendering those first 60 frames. Otherwise, it would just be rendering nothing afterwards. And it's just a long video, takes up storage, what we don't want. Step, don't worry about that. So now that we're going on to output, so this is essentially just where you want the file to be after you've rendered and exported it. Where do you want that file to be? I've just put my desktop. You guys just put in either in your downloads folder or your desktop, wherever is relevant, and you'll be able to find it. The next thing you want to do, go down to media type. So this will be by default be image, but you want to click on that and go down and press video. So of course, we're rendering a video. We want it to render as a video. After that, we then want to go down to encoding. So what you want to do, again, by default, this will be, I think, Matroska. What you want to change that to is MPEG4 or MP4 for short, because MP4 is a video format. We want to use that to export our video. Excellent. And then I believe that is everything we need. You don't need to worry about video. You don't need to worry about anything else. We only need that encoding and that video format and that MP4 format. Excellent. So the last thing we want to do, we want to go to the top left, press render, and then we want to press render animation. And as you can see at the top left, that's now rendering every individual frame that we've got. So of course we have 60 frames for this video, but for yours it could be more. So just keep that in mind. It could take quite a while, it could be quite short. Just want to be conscious of time. Excellent. There we go. So that is now all 60 frames rendered. Let's go to my desktop. And there we go. So that's the video rendered. So of course it's really, really short. I've just put it on loop. But again, this is just to kind of get used to those camera controls, get used to keyframing that camera and following it along with the player. So of course, if you have an animation where the player is walking, you want to make sure the camera is following that player, and go crazy with it. It's you can be stylish, you can do whatever you want. The camera is yours to manipulate.